Item 7.8, consider adopting Resolution 2516, authorizing the submission of a grant application to the North Central Texas Council of Governments for funding under the Call for Projects program to support the installation of public electric vehicle charging stations, Resolution 2516. Chris?
I would like to introduce to y'all Jordan Willingham. He is a city manager intern working with us, and he has taken on the task of putting together this EV charging station grant project, and we have been working on it behind the scenes internally here at the city. Many of our staff attended the training that we hosted when NetCog came to town, and had other folks from other areas come to our community and sat in this very room and talked about how to apply for this grant. So Jordan, I'll turn it over to you and let you walk us through this resolution and answer any of their questions they may have on this program. Right. And I'll just tell you, he's probably nervous because this is the first time he's presented to a city council that I'm aware of. I can only imagine.
That is true. That is true, Chris. Thank you, council, and thank you, everyone. This grant is a very low-risk grant. It requires no match. The funds allotted to this grant program are sitting at around $13 million. This is distributed across 16 counties. I just got done talking with our consultant, Kimley Horn, yesterday. They have about 170 sites in progress for trying to apply for these funds. It is a 100% funded project. 80% of the initial deployment and construction is covered by the federal portion of this grant, whereas 20% is covered by the vendor. When it comes to operations and maintenance, the roles are reversed. 20% is going to be covered by the grant and 80% by the vendor. This continues for a 5-year period. After the 5-year period, we take on the responsibility for operations and maintenance, or we can also continue to negotiate with the current vendor to see if we want to continue working with them or also pursue another vendor in the future. As far as the EV market goes, the growth of the EV market has been exponential. Last year alone, 1.4 million EVs were sold nationally. It is estimated by NASDAQ Research that we will hit 4.1 million EVs sales, capturing 27% of the total auto market. Here regionally in ERCOT, we have 300,000 registered EVs as of last year. ERCOT estimates by 2029 that number will be up to 770,000. If I may, I have a few pictures, if I may pull up the sites. So this is our first site here. This is the parking lot east of Visit Granbury. As far as the site requirements go, you need to have lighting. You need to have a certain grade of gradient on the concrete below 2%, which both sites completed after the consultation yesterday. You need to have some sort of security footage. This particular site does not have any security available right now, but the grant will cover the cost of implementing said security to monitor these sites. And if you go on to the next one, this is our City Hall site in the little red square on the southeast of the City Hall parking lot. Both of these sites, you give away 5 parking spots and you get back 4, is how this grant operates. The reason that being is that there's a 5-foot long kind of a easement for disabilities that is required by this grant. Both of these sites, there's one more stipulation as well, is that that same parking spot that is for disabilities, it has to be a 20-foot long parking spot, but only one of them has to be, which means they have to etch about 2 feet forward into the underlying terrain in front of them. let's see here. On to the next slide, if you would, please. Oh, is there not one? That's okay. That's okay. The other slide, the other image, I forgot to even tell Carlo to put in there. But it was a image of the various different charging stations around the city. The existing infrastructure here in the town, the grand majority, besides United Co-op, is pretty much dedicated to customers of their business, be it a hotel, be it somewhere like the workplace where they have a Tesla charger. There's no true public infrastructure for these vehicles. In Hood County alone, there's a little under 1,000 registered EVs in Hood County. When you think of our economy, when you think of all the and the growth that I mentioned in EVs, the visitors that may be foregoing Granbury, that may not even think about Granbury because we lack certain infrastructure. Yes, they could charge up at home, but wouldn't it be nice for them to have somewhere to top off, somewhere to charge their vehicles wherever they're coming from? It would be very nice to have that infrastructure in place for that 27% of total cars being sold by the year 2030. But that's kind of that's all I got right now. Y'all have any questions for me?
Thank you, Jordan.
Thank you.
And you told me yesterday, but can you explain to the council who pays for the electricity?
The electricity. Let's see. That's a good question there. Who pays for the electricity? Chris?
The person charging the vehicle.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, yes, of course, yes. The person, not only do they pay for the electricity, you can, it's either a variable rate per kilowatt hour, you can do it as a timed rate, or you can also fix it as a just per kilowatt hour, or per kilowatt for actual usage of electricity itself, or you can do it timed. That will be a conversation to be had with the vendor. But yes, it is paid for by the consumer.
So the vendor actually makes, once it's installed, he makes a profit on the sale of electricity for the 5 years. Then when it's turned over to us and the city could use that. Is that how that works, Chris?
No. Go ahead. I'll let him answer. Do you understand the question?
I believe so. So the after the 5 years expire, the revenue share allows the vendor to recoup on some of their investment. And after those 5 years, the infrastructure itself is turned over to the city. But and that also will be wanting to know: do we want to continue working with the vendor as far as operations and maintenance and things like that as well? But
so, in other words, there's a shared profit sharing going on for the first 5 years on the sale of the electricity for the company that did the install and the maintenance for the 5 years. And they get 20%, correct?
Yes, sir.
Of the sale. And so we would obviously we'd have our rates adopted by the council at some point in time with a fee, a transaction fee associated with it. And all that is yet to be determined. I think with $13 million and how many applications? 170?
170 sites across 16 counties in the North Texas
very
region.
Competitive. We'll see where we end up if y'all authorize us to submit.
And are the spaces designated EV only?
Mm-hmm.
So you can't park there?
Correct.
Are these sites that have been submitted, or can we change these sites?
These are the best sites that work with our infrastructure, and we've done a lot of research to determine where these are. And they also score better because they're close to the square.
Yes, and if I could touch on that. So part of the scoring for these, one of the largest portions is the kind of lack of charging infrastructure. But the alternative fuel corridor is a term that's used by NITCOG, and it's proximity to things that people driving these EVs may want to go to, may want to see the entertainment from Visit Granbury, the Opera House, local restaurants right there on the square, the various bars, etc., all the different shops. And this is another point in itself, is that this is not only going to drive revenues for a utility fund, but it will also bring in outside tax dollars that may not have been there in the first place to come and visit Granbury, to come and see what our square has to offer.
Not for the infrastructure. The 480 power. Why don't you tell them one final statement? Tell them about the type of charger we're proposing.
Of course. So these are the state-of-the-art direct current fast chargers. These are level 3 chargers. These things will charge an EV much more quickly than a level 2 charger. It take anywhere between 30 to 40 some odd minutes to fully charge a car. This is an extreme convenience, especially for those visiting, and even those that are local Hood County users that may need to take off on a moment's notice. Their vehicles are low on a charge. They need to top off real quick to get going somewhere that they need to be. But these level 3 infrastructure is the state-of-the-art charging infrastructure.
And total grant amount?
Total grant amount not to exceed $1.5 million. But each one of these sites, approximately $600,000 to $800,000. And just learned today also that if it is over by $100,000 or $200,000, that there's a 30C tax credit that we may be able to apply to this before the grant proceeds. And so that's something to look into that I have to learn more about.
Is it already determined what kind of chargers these are going to be? Not level 2 or 3, but I know that there are Tesla chargers, there are the J chargers, there are several different kind of EV chargers that are out there. Do we already know which ones we would be pursuing?
Not quite. So once awarded the grant, NICCOG will help us in selecting a vendor for this. But as far as the units themselves, they will have at least, I believe it's 3 to 4 different adapters that will fit any EV, essentially. Yes, sir. Of course.
Eddie?
Bruce, thank you. The only concern I have is that, we're giving up 5 spaces of these. We already get enough complaints about not enough parking downtown. And now we're going to reduce it by 5 more spaces.
The very next agenda item will address that.
Okay. All right. I hope so. I'm just saying, I don't know if these are locked in as far as parking lot sites, but I don't know about infrastructure could move towards Hewlett Park. We could build spaces out there if we needed to for these type of vehicles, and they're still close to downtown. It's a small brisk walk, but we also have the Granbury shuttle that goes down there, and maybe it would, I don't know. That's one of my concerns, is always parking. I think that's everybody's concern when they come downtown, is not enough parking, and I can't wait for the next agenda item.
Greg?
And I'm sure it may be slightly different depending on the vendor that's chosen, but was there any estimation from NICCOG on how long these individual units last, knowing that they're primarily going to be the responsibility of the vendor for the first 5 years, but then if they kick the bucket in year 6, are we left holding the bag?
Right. And I have not, as far as their longevity. learned anything to that effect, but I can easily get that information from you. I'll be more than glad to research that and get that answer to you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
I will just say that these locations are where we can get three-phase 480 power. Worked with Mr. Causey to establish the locations. They're different than what we put on previous maps because of that very thing. We had our own ideas where they needed to be, and then when we got to looking at the power needs for this charging system, it's substantially higher than what somebody would have at their house. So it's top shelf. And I figure if we're going to apply for something, let's get the best. So.
And then, real quick, just to address Eddie's concern, we're not making any changes. We're not appropriating spots or doing anything until the grant is actually in place.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Council, any other questions? Okay, does anyone make a motion to adopt Resolution 2516 to authorize the submission of the grant for this fund? Charging stations.
So moved.
Skip.
Second.
Zeb. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Passes 5-0.
See,
Thank
they
you,
don't
Council.
bite. It's not bad, is it?
Not too bad.
Jordan, you did a good job.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Appreciate
Thank
you.
Thank you.
Jordan, you're not going to go that easy. I was kind of disappointed that you didn't come with the $57 million. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, 1.5. It's chump change compared to what Chris is doing over there.
It's all pennies count.